Welcome back to my channel, Miss Be Ecstatic. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me with my Venus Diaries share. This is entry 2. And just to review, the previous video linked below in the Astro Musings category playlist, I discussed a little bit about my personal experience, how the Venus cycle has shown up for me personally in the retrograde and like different ways that it's illuminated areas of life that needed attention or messages that have come through. Now, in this practice, I'm having to go back in time because this particular cycle, which began in 2017, March of 2017, is coming full circle March of this year and completing a 8-year 5-pointed star in the sky. And so marking the end of one cycle and a reset and a renewal of a new cycle. And so in the previous video, I kind of went over some of those things, some of the dates that are particularly important and what she's doing in the sky. And I have a little correction to make also, which I'll get to in a second. I did say that I don't color my hair, and because in Venus retrogrades, it's advised not to do anything particular with like your aesthetics. And I at the moment when I was doing the first entry for the Venus Diaries, it didn't dawn on me, but I actually did during a Venus retrograde shadow. It was like it was out of retrograde, but it was still in shadow, and I did actually color my hair, and I totally forgot. But I'll go back to that, and I'm going to show you some charts as well, and share with you a little bit about what is upcoming. Let's see. So, we had a lot of astrology come up, and we're still kind of in the depths at the moment. We just had a Virgo lunar eclipse over the last couple of days. What was it? 4 days ago. And with that, there was a Sun-Saturn conjunction. And obviously the lunar eclipse was not obviously, but the lunar eclipse was with the South Node. So honestly, I've just been tired, and feeling it in my bones, Saturn bones, and just a slowdown, marked drag. All right, cool. So let's see. I'm gonna now share a little bit. I want you to find, maybe I can post it actually. I'll post a link to AstroSeek. Let me get to where I can share my screen with you. I'm gonna have you go to this link. Here we go. Okay. So this, I love, well, there's lots of great free astrological sites online. This one, and each of them have pros and cons, like really do something good and maybe other things not as great. AstroSeek is pretty cool, I found recently, for the whole Venus tracking and diary, just following her cycles. I found that this is a really great, it lays it out perfectly. The inferior conjunction, the, retrogrades, what position in the sky she is, west or east, and her visibility, which of course is going to be different for each of us depending on where we are in the world. But generally speaking, or technically speaking, when she emerges a couple days out from underneath the her underworld visit, and she emerges, she becomes technically visible. All right, so I'll leave a link to this so you can track back in time. And I have this one set in particular for 2017 because that is the beginning of this particular cycle that we're talking about, the one that we're in, the one that we're closing, and finalizing and kind of putting the last little, like we're extracting the lessons of the last 8 years and reflecting on it and taking what we've learned and the insights that we can gather from this time period and kind of starting with a new slate, but taking that wisdom and knowledge with us forward into this new cycle so we can better navigate. And, this is the first time I'm tracking it for myself and why I wanted to document it. And I've already learned a lot. Just, for example, in 2017, the end of 2017, I met my now ex-husband. And from that particular Venus cycle, I mean, just a huge whirlwind of change and shift had occurred. And it wasn't just Venus, it was also, some other big hitters. I believe Uranus went into my first house, which is why in my last video I talked about how the last time we saw this Venus in Aries at 2 or 5 degrees, there was also Uranus and Mars. Well, that had a substantially different vibe than what I'm experiencing now. And although for it to unfold, we have, 9 months or so to see what it's really flavoring or bringing forward as a theme. And I did actually, in November of 2017, meet my ex-husband, my now ex-husband, but then we had just met. So, and there was a huge amount of upheaval and change happening, and the Uranus in my first house, along with Mars, was just, I was coming out of my skin in lots of ways. I was so supercharged and restless and impulsive, and gosh, I could go on, but I want to talk about some other things here. Anyway, so this is a different one altogether. All right, so, and here you can track, where she is all through her significant parts of her cycle. All right, and you can bring up the chart and kind of look, if you know where your planets are, you can see what and how it's interacting with your personal astrology. And I'd recommend doing that at this time. Okay, so I wanted to show, all right, so I'm making a correction from my last video that I did indeed actually color my hair. I'm going to show you though. Here is let's see, I love my orange marker. So right here, oh, evening star or evening station retrograde. So December 2019, 2021. And so this is kind of mid-cycle, right? 2021, 22, 22 is kind of in the middle of the eight-year cycle. All right. And for me, see, that's 28 degree. Let's see. Well, I'm going to bring up the chart. Oops. Scusi. Let me do it now. Yeah. For me, that happened. Here's Venus right here, 26 degrees of Capricorn. So this is where shadow would be. So she's stationed right here at 26 degrees. And actually my personal Venus is at 26 degrees of Capricorn. So I had a Venus return that year and I wanted to do something different. It had already been like super emotional and rough because Chiron had entered, or Chiron and hello, thumbs up, yes. By the way, give me a thumbs up to support the algorithm here. Just give me a little comment or thumbs up. Where were you in December of 2022? What were you, or 2021? What were you doing? Were you getting a new hairstyle? Were you thinking about it? Were you getting some kind of augmentation to your aesthetic? Did you buy some funky shoes or what? Okay, so I'm gonna just let's see. I'm gonna show you. Let's see if it'll let me just do that. I don't think it will. I have to change this. So I gotta stop sharing. Hello. And then I gotta share again. I'm not sure why there isn't a more. Okay, are you ready? Purposeful pause here. Da, 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 da. There she is. I did actually do a hair change during a retrograde Venus. And while it wasn't horrible, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. I totally spent way too much time in the salon chair and spent way too much money on this particular hairdo. And it was not at all like what I had asked for. And the woman that, I mean, I specifically asked if she knew how to do a particular technique, and she assured me that of course she does. And yeah, I mean, the money piece isn't bad, but the rest of it is just not exactly what I was looking for. I ended up with an all over teal when I was looking for something with more wisps, more playful, wispy um, version. So yeah, that was fun. So I'm going to stop sharing again. So anyway, I wanted to put it on record that, and because I'm doing the reflecting and checking the dates, I look back in my phone and I was like, oh my God, I did actually change my hair. But it didn't last long. That's the thing. That's the whole thing with like the Venus retrograde is something like usually it's not good to do permanent things because it may not turn out the way you want. Something might go wrong, or any number of things. Like if you got I don't know, like luxury items or things of the nature, like or there might be delays. Like maybe you ordered something during Venus retrograde that you really wanted, or you made some kind of change in your home or construction or redesign or something like that. There's usually some kind of like delay, breakdown, or it just doesn't turn out the way that you want it, which was the case here. So anyway, that's for the record, letting you know that I do actually have some experience with that. And I'll bet if you look back on this graph that yeah, you'll probably find somewhere in your timeline in which you also um, it's something that meets that criteria for Venus retrograde. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our chart here. So that happened in December, and so there's retrograde, but I actually got it done, I think, closer to um, January or February. Yeah. And by the time by the time summer came around, I totally changed it. So beginning of the year, Venus change, and then I try to change it back. Okay, so what else do I want to say about this? Okay. Um, I wanted to show what we can expect. So right now we're kind of in this window here where we are about to set. So today I'm recording this on Monday, March 17th. We already had Venus in Aries at 10 degrees, 50 minutes station for retrograde. And as of today, I believe she is, I think, at 4 degrees. We'll take a look in just a second. So I believe I did a video right around this time to talk about it, my first diary entry. And so in 2 days, she won't be visible anymore. She's going into the evening setting part of her retrograde. So that's what we can expect for March 19th coming up shortly. And what that means, or what we might encounter, is just when she's not visible, she's not dispensing her gifts. So areas that Venus rules, which is Libra and Taurus, will be slower or not as powerful. Like you might just see things in your chart related to those houses come to a stop, or be, again, this is where the delays come in, or where reviews are needed. And so like when any planet is retrograde, we're talking about like a revision, rethinking, um, resetting, revising, repurposing. It's an internalized action of that planet. So for me, I am assessing like well, for everyone, we're going to be assessing our values. Where that shows up in your world specifically will be in your Libra house or your Taurus house. And then obviously, because this is happening in Pisces and Aries, there's emphasis on that too. So yeah, it's a time to reflect and to assess our values. What else do I want to say about this? Okay, so the Cazimi, when Venus meets the sun. So she's in a meeting with the king, the solar figure, the authority, the illuminator, dispensing its wisdom and like clearing the deck and resetting. She'll be at her weakest, but she's receiving downloads, information, a blueprint to go forward in this new reset cycle. So I'll show you the chart for that day, and I think I'm going to sneeze. I might pause if it decides to come back with some force. So here we have, this is where the what we call the Venus star point will occur, and that is the exact point where she goes into the heart of the sun. And at that time, both the sun and uh, both the sun and Venus are going to be sextile, which is a positive flow over to Pluto. And so Pluto is having a significant influence pretty much on this. No, not that much. Let me go back. I would say because Pluto has a larger orb, I would say essentially between Neptune, maybe even the North Node, Venus, and the Sun. Yeah, in this chart, it does give a sextile to all of this over to Pluto. And sextiles are good. They're in a flow, supportive communication with one another. And so it's actually really, I get the sense that it's because Pluto seeks to get to the root, the deepest truth, the fundamental essence of a thing. And in this case, it is a Cazimi. It to the Venus star point. So I would look around for signs, signatures, messages, downloads on this day as to like some deeper truth, deeper understanding, deeper aha, a deeper insight or a download of some kind having to do with your personal values. And again, it's going to depend on where this shows up in your chart. And if I have time this week, I will do another video and kind of touch on it a little bit for each sign, maybe just this particular sextile. And then you can see also that the Saturn and like Saturn over here is accompanying Mars in a trine. So there's some interesting anchoring of energy here that's all very supportive. And that Mars is also sextiling this Uranus. So it's kind of a mixed bag, to be honest. Because Mars is now, even though he's in detriment in Cancer, he's now going forward at full speed, I believe. It's that Mars Uranus energy again. So in the previous at the start of this cycle in 2017, they were together in Aries. And now they're in a sextile in different houses. So it's interesting that they're still connecting at the end of the cycle. That's a new piece that I'm just kind of ahaing about at the moment right now. So I'm gonna have to think about that some more. Because they're part of the story of the beginning of this cycle and they're communicating at the end as well. So yeah, Pluto in a deeper sex. Okay, so I did look up my aspects in astrology book, and this one's from Sue Tompkins. I'll be honest with you, I got it at one of my used bookstores. I was getting all books astrology related. And I don't know, just not my favorite so far. But as a quick reference, I looked up the Sun Pluto, and I do also actually have one that is better. Let me see. Mm, and I honestly have books everywhere. It's such a mess. I'm gonna just pause for a second. Oh wait, I paused the screen share. Actually, I'm not gonna do anything because it's just right here. Um, so in terms of like this one's actually, I think, a little better, but now I have to look it up. All right, well, Pluto, Mercury, Venus. It's not so bad. 136. Page 136, in case you have the book. And yeah, this one is the Archetypal Universe from Ren Butler. Um, but in this aspects book, it talks about, I'll just use the keywords. This is for the Sun Pluto. Sun Pluto says hidden self, importance of power, illuminating taboos, powerful father, transforming pride, obsession with self. Okay, so there's that one. And then the Venus Pluto aspect. Again, I'm just going to use the keywords because I don't want to spend a bunch of time reading from the book. This one says the power of love, impulsive affection, relationship crisis, transforming appearance. Don't do it during retrograde or shadow, beauty and power, money and power. But those are all things we value, right? All right. So again, I'm just going to use this for the Venus Pluto. Deep and intense passions, renewing and regenerating forces in relationships, the power of love and the drive to unite, the interplay of beauty and the beast, a tendency toward obsessive attractions, feelings of jealousy and possessiveness, passive aggression or manipulation, a love of power is another way it could show up. Okay, I am going to read the archetypes and spirituality because I do like the way he's written this. Eros and Thanatos, beauty and the beast. Kama, Mara, desire, death. Love as a cosmic force, Shakti energy, the lotus as a symbol of the sexual power of the feminine principle in Greco-Roman mythology, sacred temple prostitutes of the matriarchal era who taught sexual mysticism, tantra, orgastic deities and festivals, Ishtar, Padma, Walpurga, the May Queen, goddess of sexual dominance, such as Kali, Asher, Lilith and her daughters at the night hags, Hecate, underworld or abducted goddess such as Kore, Persephone, Europa, Helen of Troy, Leda, and the Swan, Pasiphae, sorry, Persephone and the bull, the Minotaur, perinatal patriarchal themes of women as instrumenta diaboli, women as a sexual temptress or deceiver, Eve, Delilah, Pandora, monstrous female figures such as Medusa or the Gorgon. It's funny. So there's a lot in here. Let's see if there's anything else I want to share from this. So Venus, Pluto transits help people to face and clear out issues around jealousy, betrayal, or sexual abuse from their past. They also bring elements of love and kindness to the death rebirth process, which, you know, Venus is already going into at the, like, in a big way. Like she's dying to the heart of the sun at the, you know, at her least visible, lowest point, and then, you know, over the coming days will be emerging out of that renewed like a phoenix rising, right? A new morning star. So that is exactly the cycle she's doing. But so obviously it's really not obvious, but it is the first time in the, you know, in a Venus cycle of recent history that we can say that the Pluto, the planet of death and transformation, is here to support Venus at her star point, dying to the sun and at the heart of the sun, and being a part of this rebirth process, this rebirth journey. So like a facilitator, like Pluto, the death doula of Venus in the Venus cycle. Journey finds its way to tolerate and even enjoy feelings of suffering as the negative material is being released from their psyches. Yeah, so cleansing, a purging, a um, ecstatic, cathartic release is, yeah, that's the potential that's held here. So, you know, the sun being involved, a warm primal charisma, a deep love of the creative process, personal transformation leading to renewal in one's relationship to life, a celebration of the healing power of love, an obsessively bright and sweet persona, the wielding of beauty or charm to control or dominate others. Yeah. See, is there anything else I want to include here? I think because Neptune, I'm gonna include Neptune in this as well, because you can see here, there's just all of these degrees are just so close with one another. And so with Neptune in the mix, it also colors this situation with a primal and mystical beauty, deeply healing and inspiring relationships. Unequivocal, oh, excuse me, unquenchable longings for the divine beloved, love as profound spiritual force in the world, obsessive romantic fantasies, extreme idealism in one's relationship life, leading to disappointment, strange or morbid attractions. So, food for thought. Again, that's the Archetypal Universe by Red Butler, and the highlights that we started with Sue Tompkins' astrology aspect. Okay, so that being said, those are some things that we can look to as being potential energies showing up. So with that Neptune piece involved with, you know, obsessiveness, idealizing, fantasy, obviously we want to be cautious. I'm acutely aware of, you know, my inner world, my inner thoughts, and my inner desires, and maybe some of them, like a lot of my dreams have been pretty wild personally, and and even sexual. Yeah, like actually really intensely sexual. And I don't normally have dreams that are so erotic, but the last 2, 3 days have involved some, yeah, some pretty intenseness, juiciness. And so those are the main things I wanted to share. My, like, just to review, we're in the retrograde, and actually I will just update some dates that we can expect. Let me pull this up real quick. Sorry, one second. I'm just looking for my notes. Okay. So this chart, excuse me. Again, I'm telling you, I'm tired. Okay, March 23rd. So today's the 17th. Venus is going to her evening setting over the next 2 days. 23rd is when she will be retrograde in Aries at the star point, dying to the heart of the sun. Sorry if you hear in the background noise. And then I'm just looking down at my notes, excuse me. She'll be in Venus again, still retrograde on the 27th. And then April 12th, she will station direct at 24 degrees Pisces. April 30th, she will enter Aries again. She'll be out of shadow May 16th, y'all. April, we have 2 months from right now. So like mental mark between now and May 16th, we're in like retrograde and shadow window. So if you can help making any decisions around, your aesthetics or anything to do with where Venus is in your chart, or the planet or the houses that she rules in your chart, try to like abstain and don't do anything too cray cray, in relationships between now and then. And then June 6th is when she will go into Taurus, where she's exalted and happy and like she's renewed, she's freshy fresh. So that's how long these Venus diaries are going to be, these entries are going to last. So that's pretty cool. I feel like that's a lot of um time to collect data. So it's a really good time to, if you haven't already, just get a simple little notepad or journal and start taking notes. And I will leave a link below for the AstroSeek Venus Rose cycle. Oh, and wait, I'm going to show you one other really cool graph of, and then we'll close it out. Let me see if all right, that's enough. No, where'd it go? Yeah, cool. All right, so yeah, so here's kind of the pattern that it makes that Venus makes in in the sky when she appears to be retrograde for us and she's in her dark period. And then when she emerges again, she emerges or she meets the sun in these five different houses. Right now it's Aries, Gemini, Leo, Scorpio, and Capricorn. And and then she emerges full or new, sorry, new. So there's one image. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Woo! So here we are. So this is what it's going to look like till this has it marked to 2030, but um, so next year Venus will yeah, she'll I think in January she'll be in retrograde in Capricorn. I'll look more into it and we'll talk about it in the next. I'll get more specifics on the upcoming 8-year cycle in what houses that they're going to be coming up. Well, I mean, I already told you which houses, but exactly the dates for each of those full Venus to new Venus points will be, and we'll put that in. That'll be my homework. And then I will share that with you all. Let's see, here's another one. Twenty 28. Let's see. I was looking at this one to see what it was like during my birth year, 1981, up here, 81 in Aries. And I believe I'm an evening star Venus in my birth chart. Anyway, you can see the five-pointed star and the flower that she makes in her journey in the sky. Yeah, and this is her interaction with the moon, different phases of her trek. So lots of great information on astroseek.com. I will post this link in there as well, so you can kind of poke around and get a better, you can do your own little study and research of this pattern. And yeah, so, okay, if you've made it this far, awesome. You're a rock star. Thank you for joining me for this entry, this Venus Diaries entry. I hope it was helpful or, insightful in some way, or maybe it's inspired you in some way. And if so, if that's the case, hey, did you do anything in 2022 in 2020, late 2021, early 2022? Did you do anything to your face, to your hair? Did you, get some new wild kicks? Did you have a wild romance? Did you start anything in 2017 that maybe you can look back to and say it like has come to some kind of fullness or completion, or maybe you're closing the book on something from 2017. Share with me a little bit about what you're getting from this Venus cycle coming up, or as we're ending it. And leave me a comment. Please, please, please like and subscribe. I am trying to grow this channel and would love to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I would love your support. I really appreciate you for being here and for viewing me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. All right. Ciao.